Hey everybody, welcome back to NW Farms. Just thought we were done working on the 4440. People ask me or say to me all the time, why don't we show more breakdowns? It's not that we don't have breakdowns in the field, we do, everybody does, but we try to make them as minor as possible. And here is a prime example of how you keep from having breakdowns in a inopportune time, or in a time where you don't want them. I tell students in school oftentimes the most important job in the whole shop is preventive maintenance, or PM, inspecting vehicles. So if you take your job as a vehicle inspector to heart, this is where you find problems like this. So the hydraulic hoses that we placed in the last video were 40-year-old hoses. Well, the heater hose for the cab for the heat control is the same age. So underneath this tractor, while I was underneath here, I looked at these hoses. So you can see that sun's still coming through. Gonna make that cloudy. You see this dark spot on this hose right here at the tip of my finger? While I was here, I reached up there and just touched that. I'm not going to touch it again because if I touch it again, it's going to split in half. But that has a crack in it, and so it's actually leaking coolant. Not much, but if we were to leave that alone, that's going to blow out. So we are fixing to have to guesstimate how much hose we're going to need, of heater hose, and then we'll replace these heater hoses. I like to sometimes try, and let's go around here and see if we can do it. So this is the side of the engine where one of those heater hoses goes to. The other side goes, or the other one goes to the other side, I think. So we won't be able to do it here, but a lot of times we like to put a ball valve in there so that we can shut all of the hot water off to the actual heater core in the summertime. And that's one of those things. Let me grab me a line. So you can see the heater hose is coming up right up through there. You can see that wet spot right there really good now. So it comes up through the fender and out here to the outside. So you may be thinking, well, I've got the ball valve or the heater control turned off in the cab, so it's not actually really and truly not letting heat go through there. But the reality is yes, it is. So what we may do is come in here, if we can do it nice and neat, might put us some ball valves in here on each one of these hoses. And what that'll actually do will allow us to, in the summertime, we can turn them off and there won't be any hot water circulate through the cab. So there won't be any, it'll just, what it does is it helps the efficiency of the air conditioner. And in these old tractors, they need all the help they can get. So you can see how that's kind of splattered right in there. That tells me that that was leaking the other day. And I kept smelling coolant the other day when we were spreading lime. And I looked and didn't see anything. But that explains it right there. So the good thing is I got the cab off a 4240 that uses the same size hose, so I know what size of hose that is, and I'll go town tomorrow and get some. We'll put all that on fresh tomorrow, and then we may be done then. All right, so we're starting the process of replacing these heater hoses that we found to be bad the other day. Remove this keeper here, and then we'll take them off one at a time. I didn't get us any valves picked up, but we can always pick those up at a later date and come back in here and put them in if I want to. One of the best things I ever did on any of these cab tractors that we got was tinting the windows in them. But in tinting the windows, you can't just use regular window tint. You need to use a ceramic window tint to cut the UV heat that comes from the sunlight out. If you try to use just regular window tint, you're not going to notice any difference in the cooling capacity. So you got to be sure to use ceramic tint. Alright, looks like we've got one or two down the side of the tractor, so let's go down underneath and pick them off. Alright, so we got one right there I need to take off. Like I talk about all the time on these old tractors, you can literally just about take these old John Deeres apart with a 9/16 wrench. Pretty much everything that Deere did on these tractors. These were all standard. Making sure I was taking off the right thing. And their main size of wrench that you're gonna need is a 9/16. So if you're running an old school John Deere tractor, a good set of standard wrenches, preferably 9/16, 1/2 inch, 5/8, 11/16, and 3/4. You can practically just about take the whole entire tractor apart with that one set of wrenches. Alright, we're ready to take worm gear clamps apart. I think I showed you the other day, but I just want to show you again. So there's where, right here is where one of the hoses go to. The other one comes off. Alright, so got one on. Runs all the way down through there, underneath the cowl. And behind the brake valve. Across through there and then up. So this is the one that was actually leaking. This hose here was in bad shape. Where is that? Right there. So right there is where she was split at. And you can see that cord there being white. It tells me it's been split a while. But you get down in here, that hose is just squishy as all get out. And right here, that right there is borrowed time. So yeah, we lost coolant. Yeah, we won't talk about how much a roll of hose cost. But I'll tell you what that roll of hose cost, just to show you. That roll of hose right there was $400. And that is 50 foot, so that's way more than what we'll ever need for this tractor. But the 10 foot or whatever we just put on there and the other 8 foot is gonna go on the other side. The rest of that I'll save and use on the 240 and anywhere else. That right there is not normal. This is not normal heater hose. This is a Gates. It's called an extreme hose, but you can use it for oils, coolants, anything you want to use it for. We were talking about it in the store. It's good up to 325 psi. So pretty much anything you want to use for that right there's it. Now it is twice as much as regular heater hose is, but at the end of the day, the lost time on this tractor, if it had blowed that hose in the field, the $400 for the cost of the hose, probably 60-80 bucks for coolant, so $500 worth of time plus the time to take it apart, fix it, put it back together, where right now it's too wet to farm, so we're just out here repairing stuff. The $300 in parts and supplies, yes, this is a no-brainer. So let me yank this other hose off, and we'll get it replaced and go from there. Let's go tighten one up on the back. What a mess. All right, so we got our hoses put on, we got our coolant put back in. I think we put in 4.5 or 5 gallon worth, which I'll run it this time and then see what it does. We'll have to top it off because the heater core is not full and thermostats and everything open up and get it all bled out. It'll probably still take another gallon and a half. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna fire this tractor up, drive out here, degrease everything, spray it down with some degreaser, and then pressure wash it to wash all that coolant off that come out everywhere, because coolant will actually take the paint off of it. Here's a hose repair I made the other night, and I don't think I filmed this, and I may wind up coming back and doing this other one here too. But those are hydraulic cooler lines, and one of them had been seeping, made a big mess, so I'm gonna spray all that down and then wash the radiator and stuff out too. So let me fire up, we'll go out here and fire up the pressure washer.